Good day. I welcome you at the lecture of Basic Understanding of Civil Engineering under the subject of Introduction to Civil Engineering as per the syllabus suggested by Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, and the subject code is CEHS 302 and the related module number is 1. Myself Sandeepan Saha, Assistant Professor for the Department of Civil Engineering of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management under JIS Group.
First, let us discuss with the topics to be covered in this particular chapter. That is the basic idea of civil engineering and the engineering. Why do we need civil engineers? The broad disciplines of civil engineering and the applications. Role of civil engineers in infrastructure development. Importance of civil engineers and civil engineering. And the career scope for a civil engineer. So, in this chapter, we are dealing with the basic understanding of civil engineering. But before we proceed to the topic, first we need to know what is engineering. This word is originated from a Latin term, ingeniare, which means to invent, to create or regulate something new. Engineering is the professional art of applying scientific principles to everyday things to make life easier, better, beautiful. But what is the difference between the scientists and engineers? As you can see, the scientists use their education to acquire new knowledge, whereas the engineers apply their education to develop usable devices, structures, processes, so that our daily life can be better, beautiful, serviceable. And here, what is a civil engineer? Basically, a civil engineer deals with the improvement of quality through the production of infrastructure like buildings, bridges, highways, dams, water treatment plants. Whereas the infrastructure we are talking about should be safe, functional, elegant, economically sound, serviceable for a longer period. As per the development of civil engineering, we can go back to the year during 4000 BC and in between 4000 BC and 2000 BC, where it is thought that civil engineering is developed during this time. And also we can find various examples of civil engineering application during this time. I think you have heard of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Indus Valley civilizations. You can find many civil engineering applications, monuments, buildings, structures, which are basically from this period. And as per the modern day civil engineer and civil engineering, John Smeaton was the first self-proclaimed civil engineer who built Eddystone Lighthouse in 1771. So why do we need civil engineers? As I've already mentioned, that civil engineers are needed to make the human habitat livable. And to do so, they need to use the resources wisely. And also, while they are developing the human habitats and various infrastructure, they need to keep the cost effectiveness and the economic concept very carefully, so that the overall productivity can be increased. Now we come to the different divisions in civil engineering. As we know, civil engineering is one of the oldest engineering that I have mentioned, that the examples of old civil engineering can be found during the time uh, between 4000 BC and 2000 BC. But also, these are very broad engineering. Whereas the very broad specializations are construction engineering, structural engineering, geotechnical, transportation, environmental engineering, water resources engineering. But what are actually those engineering, right? So let's proceed to the some details of these particular divisions of civil engineering. First, we come to structural engineering. So what is a structural engineering? Actually, it deals with the design of new structures, or you can upgrade the existing structure. And in order to do so, a structural engineer needs to use new technologies and materials intelligently so that the structural behavior can be controlled. Otherwise, the structure in future cannot be serviceable. That is, the suppose you have introduced some extension, but if you um, implement false technology, the structure won't survive. The structures include like buildings, bridges, offshore platforms, transmission towers, and other specialized facilities. There are some eminent structural beauty here. One is Dubai Towers that you can find in Dubai in UAE. The next is Burj Al Arab. This also you can find in Dubai. The next is Nebraska State Capital in Lincoln, in Nebraska, United States of America. Next, we come to construction engineering. What is now construction engineering? Basically, this particular engineering is a professional discipline that deals with the designing, planning, construction, and management of infrastructures such as roads, tunnels, bridges, and various structures. So you can see whatever you are designing in structural engineering department, here it becomes reality. And in order to do so, you need certain management skills, which includes the project cost estimation, scheduling, financial planning, labor coordination, and proper supervision, so that the entire project becomes real. So now we should see some images of construction so we can have a better idea regarding this particular engineering. This is a picture of a various stages of construction of the famous Eiffel Tower. Before, during the construction, what it looks like, and after the completion of the project, you can see the beauty of this tower. This is also an ongoing construction process of a building, of a structure. And this picture deals with the before and after the construction of Dubai. So you can see Dubai in 1991 and Dubai in 2005. So what it was in 1991 and what it becomes in 2005 after the successful construction. The next part is geotechnical engineering. So what is a geotechnical engineering? As it is the application of scientific methods and engineering principles to acquisition, interpretation, and use of knowledge of materials of the earth's crust and earth materials for the solution of engineering problems and the design of engineering works. It is the applied science of predicting the behavior of the earth, its various materials and processes towards making earth more suitable for human activities and development. And what does the geotechnical engineers do? They investigate existing subsurface conditions for tunnel excavations, pipelines. They determine physical and chemical properties relevant to project considered. Suppose you are constructing a structure at a site. But in order to construct, first you need to have a clear idea regarding the actual soil characteristics of that site so that the risks can be assessed which will be posed by the site. Also, the geotechnical engineers design earthworks and structural foundations and monitor earthwork and foundation construction. In this picture, you can see the construction of tiling, or you can see a pipeline. And now, this is the world islands. It's a modern day important application of geotechnical engineering. This world island is located at 2.5 miles of the coast of Dubai. This world islands is comprised of 300 islands. Actually, this is built artificially, which is composed of 321 million cubic meters of sand and 31 million tons of rock. The land used to create the islands largely consist of sand dredged from Dubai's shallow coastal waters. Overall development cost estimate around $14 billion US dollar. And the full ownership of the undeveloped island ranges between $10 million to $45 million USD. Now, transportation engineering. What is this actually? As you can see, the transportation engineering deals with the transport. So, this is the branch of civil engineering which is involved in the planning, design, operation and maintenance of safe and efficient transportation systems. These systems include roadways, railways, waterways, and intermodal operations. Typically, the demand is the amount of traffic, that is, the people, car, rail cars, barges, that is expected to use a particular transportation facility, while the supply is the quantity and type of infrastructure components, that is, roadways, bridges, pavements. So, the transportation engineering not only deals with the transport system but also to provide the roadways, bridges, pavements. And you can see this is quite a large and expensive engineering division. And in order to do so, we need to implement intelligent transport systems. As you can see, these are various transportation modes we use in our current day application, and to do so, we need to implement intelligent and proper transportation system, that is rails and roadways, airports. So environmental engineering is the professional engineering division of civil engineering that takes from broad scientific topics like chemistry, biology, ecology, geology, hydraulics, hydrology, microbiology, and mathematics to create solutions that will protect and also improve the health of living organisms and improve the quality of environment. Environmental engineering is the application of scientific and engineering principles to improve and maintain the environment, to protect human health, to protect nature's beneficial ecosystems, and to improve environmental related enhancement of the quality of human life. Environmental engineers devise solutions for wastewater management, water and air pollution control, recycling, waste disposal, and public health. They also design municipal water supply, and industrial wastewater treatment systems. And the design plans to prevent waterborne diseases and improve sanitation in urban, rural, and recreational areas. As you can see, by the applications of environmental engineers, these diseases becomes a delicacy. In this particular picture, you can see the environmental engineers are engaging themselves to clean up the Bharat petroleum oil spill so that this does not cost the neighboring environment in the future. Now we come to water resources engineering. Actually, this is one of the important engineering division in civil engineering. Understanding the natural processes of the hydrological cycle allows the water resource engineers to plan, design, procure, build, manage, and operate infrastructure to meet the often competing demands of domestic users, industry, agriculture, and navigation. In this division, the engineers advise on sustainable use of resources by conserving water, building dams, and conveying water to users. Their planning ensures holistic, integrated management of water, which balances the needs of nature with those of users. Water resource engineers are employed by the organizations right across the water industry. Water suppliers abstract water from the environment, treat it to the required standard, and distribute it to the household and non-household customers. So, water resource engineers are also required for the performance requirements of lock and dam structures. This is Hoover Dam, which is situated at Clark County, Nevada of Arizona in USA. This is one of the most important application in the division of water resource engineering, followed by this Panama Canal, which is situated in Panama, and this is also a very important application of water resource engineering. So, as we have discussed the various divisions of civil engineering, now we have the clear idea the requirements of civil engineering in various divisions of infrastructure. So, if we summarize those things, we can say from construction of roads, railways, harbors, airports, to dams, various housing, commercial industrial complexes, civil engineers are required. Followed by the maintenance of those facilities, and also rebuilding, rehabilitation, retrofitting if required. So civil engineers are required in every corner of infrastructure development which deals with the betterment of human life. As we can see that various development work, which includes the development of roads, buildings, and other infrastructures, are ongoing in our country. These all are being done to develop the human lives as well as the beautification of our country. And to execute these things, civil engineers are required. And for this, boom in construction industry can be seen, as well as the investments for this are in billions and billions. So demand for civil engineers is high. Both the government and private sectors are engaged in this development work. So demand for civil engineers is high with lucrative career scope. Even we can see these things in abroad also. As I have already mentioned, that civil engineers are employed with a very lucrative career options. They are being employed in various construction firms, defense forces in development, various boards of municipal bodies, renewable energy projects, and many other firms. Now take a look at the various job profiles for civil engineers once they have completed their graduation studies. As per the information from payscale.com, we can see a structural engineer with an experience of 1 to 4 years can get a salary of 4 to 5 lakhs per annum. A geotechnical engineer with a fresher background can get a salary 3 to 4 lakhs per annum. A site engineer, being a fresher, can get a salary from 2.5 to 3 lakhs per annum. And the construction engineers, being a fresher, can get a salary from 3.5 to 4 lakhs per annum. This is the list of top recruiters in India. But here I have mentioned only few names, but there are lots of names. I have mentioned these names because these are the top recruiters, and these are W.S. Atkins Consultant Limited, Fluor Corporation, AECOM Corporation, L&T Limited, Lodha Group, Nagarjuna Construction Company, Sapurji Palunji and Company Limited, Infra Corporation, Gammon, Afcons. These are private sectors, but even government and public infrastructure divisions are also hiring lots of civil engineers. So, in our discussion since the beginning, what we have learned that civil engineers are very much important. This is one of the oldest engineering. They are very much required in various infrastructure developments, which are required for the developments of common people. And the job profile of a civil engineer is quite high. Their career scope is very lucrative. They can get various high salary once they have completed their studies. So it's a very important. Thank you.